Thank you, yes, you, for clicking on my video. I cannot express to you how much that means to me. Maybe I can. I do like to talk, so if you like Sims 4 and building and yapping, you are in the right place today. Recently, I'm working on a project in Glimmerbrook, the world that was shipped with the Realm of Magic game pack. Now, since I've been working on Glimmerbrook for so long, I guess I'll start by saying I have noticed that the items that were given to us, like the build and buy assets, are incredibly niche. They're like very specific, and they don't necessarily mesh with the base game very well. So in a way, it kind of makes sense to me that the lots that they gave us by like default just weren't really, how do I want to say this? It wasn't really up to par to what, you know, our standards are nowadays as far as our lots in The Sims 4. Now, I did a previous video, I'll put a card here. The lot that I'm building on, the Creekside corner, is actually, it ships with a household called the Amicable Acolytes, and I had done a previous version of this lot, but I kind of focused on them. So if you wanted to play with the two that it shipped with, you could go download that house. I kind of did like a Blue Craftsman. But if you're like me, and you typically like to evict the people that they ship into the game by default, then I'm hoping I made a great little modern kind of home tucked away in the corner. Oh, also, I did limited packs for this one. God, I'm almost 2 minutes into the video. I didn't even mention that. So I used 4 packs. And I like to do this thing where I try to use like one of each type of DLC. So I used an expansion pack. I used businesses and hobbies. I felt that that would, you know, cater to this modern theme that I have going. Then the Realm of Magic pack, of course, you know, for Glimmerbrook. Then I used the Moschino pack and the the refined living room kit. Now, another thing that I'm thinking about, well, let me show you the reference picture first. So here's the picture from Pinterest. And honestly, I think this reference picture is pretty popular because I've seen a bunch of builds kind of similar to this. So, but yeah, so I don't normally do like more current modern type homes often. And when I was just looking at that reference picture, I remember sitting on my couch and talking to my partner, and I'm like, I really want to build this, and I think I can do it, but a part of me feels like I don't want to do a foundation this time. Like I want to try to build everything on platforms, which in theory sounded like a great idea. And then I started doing it and I ran into all of the weird little things that you get with the way like platforms split things up and you start adding walls, and then all of a sudden the game just like wants to create rooms. I tried my hardest on like the ground floor to kind of not actually have a room, if that makes sense. Like, I don't want to say the wall was standing alone, but like there is no like 4-wall closed-in room. I should say room that like the Sims will use. I did a bunch of little like one-tile little rooms kind of around it for like, what do you call it? Like a pillar or column illusion. But I guess basically the thing that I wanted to share is when you're building this way, where you're trying to like not actually create a room, it makes things difficult. The biggest thing that I can think of was freezes, and trims on the outside. It makes things a little wonky, and sometimes trims pop up where you didn't expect them to. Ultimately, I'm proud of how this came out. You know, it's a little out of my normal comfort zone, and you know, trying new things and experimenting isn't always fruitful. So I was definitely happy that I felt like I tried new things and it was successful this time with this build. One of the things I can think of experimenting, also like, you know, reeling myself back into this, the video, the build. I don't typically like to go with like one wall pattern for the entire build. So, I mean, I did break it up with the like reclaimed wood wall that we got this summer, and then I believe the stone wall is base game. It's either base game or Realm of Magic. But I used it for the entire build, and for once, like, I actually liked it. With this idea of the bottom floor not ever having like a clearly defined room, I felt that doing everything with the stone it kind of created like a cohesiveness. It kind of pulled everything together. I don't know. I keep saying no actual rooms. I'm trying to find a better way to say it, because it's not an open floor plan. There are walls. It's just, I don't know, everything's real open. I'm figuring the idea is everywhere that you sit in this house, you get a nice stunning view of the neighborhood. With the exception of the back. I'm not really sure why, but like they put the lots in this world at the end of the world, like on the edges, if that makes sense. So I guess I get it, like you get all of the space to play in between, but I don't know, I guess my own preference is I prefer lots that are kind of like right in the middle of everything. And this feels like it's tucked away, which I guess that also makes sense. It's called Creekside Corner. You know what? Let me stop. I've only worked on 3 lots in Glimmerbrook so far. I haven't even gotten to like the little starter home lot or this other one on the left-hand side, I think, of the map. And I believe that those aren't like on the very edge of the map. But anyways, let me reel myself back in again. So I was reading up on the Realm of Magic pack, the one that we get this world from. And a big part of the like design, the interiors, like the items that they gave us with the pack, were supposed to be inspired by Art Nouveau. I guess to kind of get that whimsical, magical, mystical feel, which for one does not go with this style of build at all. I tried, you probably saw a moment ago, I tried using the different doors, trying to include some type of stained glass, something, and I didn't like it. One of the things I remember is when I was working on this, I took a break and my partner was like, how's building going? And I was like, I'm building in Glimmerbrook. I was like, but I'm struggling to use the actual Realm of Magic pack, which I kind of felt bad because I'm trying to love on Glimmerbrook, but unfortunately they didn't really focus on like, I guess some of these Realm of Magic items matching or like working well with other packs that they gave us. I mean, I guess technically I could have used some like Enchanted by Nature items that probably would have fell into like an Art Nouveau type style, but that would have taken the build in a completely different direction. Right, so I added these like 3 little diamond kind of, I guess like a skylight on the roof in a few different places. I thought it just added that little extra bit of like, I don't know, that little interest, that little something just to break it up. So let's see, let's talk about the floor plan a little bit. So you walk into the house, it's not really a concealed entry. It's kind of like the door is cocked to the side, if that makes sense. And, you know, I did a little entryway right when you walk in. And then I kind of created like it's kind of like an open, like it's corridor, but it's not a box, if that makes sense. I have this general like thing that I just fall into where when I'm thinking of floor plans and how the Sims will move around the house, the navigation around the house, I usually picture it in my head as being central, if that makes sense. Like I picture they'll go to the middle kind of the house to move around. And, you know, that's for 2 reasons. One, it lends to building a little bit, it makes building a little bit easier. And 2, when I'm actually playing the game, people just walk away and start going all different directions, and the control freak within kind of kicks in. So if y'all are moving and you're going somewhere, I want to see it. Yes, we're moving into the dining room and like the kitchen area. So I've been challenging myself to try to do smaller kitchens because I have a tendency to want to do like a big kitchen. So I wanted to do a smaller kitchen, and then I wanted the dining room to be minimal, and I wanted it to actually make sense this time. I normally like the way it looks when you change up the chair colors, but I'm having to like break myself from that. And, you know, maybe not everybody likes that all the time, Clayton. Like maybe we could try something new. I say try something new as in matching chairs, like it's some type of novel idea. You'll notice throughout the build, I'll stop and I'll do little like small little adjustments here and there, like especially with the platforms. One of the things that I really wanted to like emulate was the idea of things being like really tight and then really open, to kind of give like that contrast when you're going from one space to another. So like, for example, I wanted the dining area right here to feel a little bit more open, and then I wanted the kitchen right behind it to feel tight, not cramped, but like, you know, very, I don't know, like comfy, like, you know, close quartered, all that, you know. And then like When you leave the dining room to go towards the front door, there is like a little hallway that leads to the bathroom. So the hallway looks really open because it has a glass window, like glass wall to kind of, it looks like it extends the front porch. But then you go into the bathroom and it's super small, quaint, and cozy. All right, now I'm gonna start putting in the lights. So when I was thinking about how I wanted to like play with this house, for example, I guess I pictured a stylish modern home like this would kind of have like moody lighting, if that makes sense. So I tried my best to really just avoid overhead lighting. A lot of the lights that I put in the house are either like lamps or on the wall. I did, have to use ceiling lights where it was necessary, if that makes sense. So kind of like the light in the dining room. I believe I used one in the bathroom as well. I remember telling myself that like I wanted to try to avoid my like maximalist nature when I was building this, to try to go for a more, modern, sleek, like minimalist. I don't want to say minimalist because it's The Sims, and minimalism it doesn't quite slap in The Sims like it does in real life. And when I say minimalism, I mean like you walk in and it's like a bed, a chair, and that's it. Maybe a curtain. Like, the kinds of people that have like literally 7 outfits, like they, super minimal. That just doesn't work well in The Sims. At least not for building, in my experience. Oh, okay, so good. We're moving on upstairs. So the little like open area I created with like a vaulted ceiling, that is going to be the living area, like the living room. So to kind of go with this whole like open and tight contrast that I was talking about, I figured you'd go up the stairs and you turn the corner and then you can see the big vast like open space above the living room. But then there's a little tight like study corner that's like right above the entryway. And then of course, at the top of the stairs on both sides, I did the 2 entries to the 2 bedrooms. So this is a 2-bedroom and 2-bathroom house. If you want to be super specific, it's technically 1.5 baths, but you put a sink and a toilet and boom, it's a bathroom. So in efforts to keep all of the plumbing on the same side of the house, I ended up doing the 2nd floor bathroom as kind of like a Jack and Jill, like shared bathroom in between the bedrooms. So you actually have to enter the bathroom on the 2nd floor through one of the bedrooms. But I mean, I end up liking how it came out. Like I said, the whole tight and open contrast. So the bedrooms feel very open. They have huge windows to see out. And then the bathroom is very like, it's narrow and it's only like 2 or 3 tiles wide. And then you actually enter the bathroom from the like innermost part of the room. So it's kind of darker when you walk in, and then you get closer to the window and things lighten up and open up. I hope you kind of see where I'm going with that. Now, the other thing about the bedrooms is I didn't really, I didn't really like inject personality, I guess, into the bedrooms because I didn't really have Sims in mind. So yeah, when your Sims move in, you might have to add a few things here and there in their bedrooms to kind of make it, perfect for them. Our babies, our little dolls. They deserve the cutest dollhouse. Now let's see. Okay, we added the little bit in the back porch. Now I'm going to start working on the living room. I tried to really focus on this kit, this refined living room kit. I've used bits and pieces and like different items from it, but I never really tried to concentrate and really use every item. Now that I say that, I really didn't use every item, but I liked the kit. The refined living kit gave us a lot of like neutrals and like beige and earth tones. And then they added different like textures, like on the side of like the accent table. The like simplicity and symmetry of the furniture kind of gives like it gives like a softness to the area. It's a very angular, modern home. So then I wanted to add like, kind of soft, refined furniture in the living space. As usual, I have to fight the urge to look for the comfy gamer rug because that is just like one of my favorite rugs right now. You'll notice throughout this video, my catalog really only has the limited packs that I wanted to use for this build. I am still too chicken to try that pack disabler that they gave us a few weeks back or earlier this year. Like, I'm sure it'll be fine if I just start a separate save file for it, but I guess I'm just used to and comfortable with just adding in the little switches to your advanced launch options, so I still do that. All right, so we finished the living room and kind of move around this little back corner here. Now, I did a little cozy, more of a tighter, narrow space behind the living room, and I kind of used that as a library or a study. I didn't quite have room to put a desk, so I also kind of have this awkward space in the corner where it's not really necessarily falling more under the tight space, and it's not really falling more under the open space, so it's kind of I don't know, a transitional, a little transitional platform. And I felt that putting a little chess table there was just a good use of the space. Now, when I was picturing the floor plan and trying to roughly plan things out when I started on this build, towards the back door, I pictured a I guess a little mini mudroom type space. I'm much more aware of thinking of mudrooms in builds ever since we got that creator kit. But then, of course, I wasn't playing with that kit right now, so I just kind of mashed up some base game businesses and hobbies items to kind of make it look a little bit more lived in. I figured in every home, there's going to be a place where things just collect, where things just gather, right? So my thought was this little back of the hallway under the stairs by the back door would kind of be this little catch-all space. It's kind of central to everything. You can get to the stairs, you can get to the kitchen. All right, so little study desk drafting table kind of upstairs. I considered putting more bookshelves up here, but I'm hesitant to add bookshelves unless I think of it ahead of time. That's mostly just because I like to play with the walls cut away and bookshelves just kind of create an eyesore. Okay, and then we move over here. Yeah, so now I'm looking at it and it reminded me I tried something different this time. The businesses and hobbies windows that we get, the little it's kind of like a two-part portrait oriented window or whatever. But I had the thought to just put the curtains on the bottom portion of the window. And I guess my brain never took me there. Whenever I'm thinking of putting curtains or a window covering, I just cover the whole damn thing, right? Instead of maybe leaving the top piece for lighting. I just think it helped create, a little cozy landing upstairs, even though the majority of the landing is just kind of open space. But all right, here we go again. Throw in some extra little lamps. I really love this chair and this pattern that we got. I believe it's from Businesses and Hobbies with the little floral. Do I think it necessarily matched everything in the build? No. Do I still love putting it there? Yes. I don't know. I guess the truth of it is the landing right here that we're working on is kind of similar to where I put the chessboard. It's kind of a transitional space. Yes, now here we go. Start throwing in, I put very minimal furniture in the bedrooms. Like I mentioned earlier, I didn't really inject personality into them this time. I guess I took more the approach of I just wanted it to be presentable. I'm gonna show the house like I'm a real estate agent. I'm a Sims real estate agent, you guys. No, I'm not a real estate agent. Got all the pieces. I build it, I furnish it, I talk about it. No, I will admit that the bed, you can't actually get to the second side of the bed. I just like the way the double bed looks compared to just putting a single bed in there. Oh yeah, I did put that little, it's kind of like a paper lamp, ceiling lamp. I did do one of those. I did on the landing. All right, so that mostly concludes the inside of the house. I started landscaping and I wanted to basically test a couple things out and feel out where I wanted to go with the landscaping. And then I realized that I had gotten carried away and I had been recording. So it kind of jumps to this point where I'm adding in a grass, I guess border around the house. I've always loved when people trim the foundation of their house with gravel and rocks. So that's what I wanted to do here. I used, I believe it's a live edit grass piece. And as you zoom out from the house, you can't really see it as well. So it was actually really crucial for me to do a little bit of mud or a brown paint under it just to really complete the illusion, if you will. I didn't think that it would make sense to put the little gravel pieces everywhere around the house, so I kind of focused it around where there were windows. I really just wanted this to be a pretty place for your Sims to sit, and they could just everywhere that they sit, everywhere they look, it's just a gorgeous view. I also made sure to start with the back instead of the front, mostly because, you know, I just know myself, and normally I don't do landscaping at the end. I try to do it, you know, once I actually get like the shell and the floor plan done. But with saving the landscaping for last, I feared that I would have gotten tired and then I would have gotten lazy with the back porch. So I tried to do just something simple but effective, like a little outdoor dining place, throw a clock. A part of me really wanted to try to find a way to include a pool, but it just wasn't feasible. So I added some planters. Now I did 2 sets of planters. I did one that's kind of more for show, like right here, with a little arch over it. And then on the other side of the stairs, I did a couple of actual pots that your Sims can use to work on their gardening skill. Now, the other thing that I'll mention too is I usually like to do a lot of outdoor lighting, but I felt like this time it didn't really make sense because we're in this little corner lot and we're in basically the woods, like the forest. I didn't think that it would make sense to have like this big lit up grand house in the corner, you know what I mean? I felt like that would have also kind of contrasted with the like moody lighting that I did inside. So when you actually play with this lot, if it gets dark outside, you really just can't see anything outside. But it is what it is. It's the woods. I felt like that was kind of a bit realistic. Anyways, this lot has this really awkward circular driveway that it does go up to the edge of the lot, but it's not centered and it doesn't fully make sense where it is. And it's not like, what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't like follow the tiles, the grid nicely. So I did my best with this little like stone path with a fork. I mean, there was this like forked path in the reference picture, so I did try to stick to that. But I guess my overall plan was to do a tree like I did here on the left-hand side, and then I wanted to do a pond on the right-hand side. I put a little fishing allowed sign, you'll see. But the only thing is I didn't stock the pond with fish. So if you do want to be able to fish on the lot, you're gonna have to put some fish in the pond. Yeah, so adding in some extra shrubs and a bunch of flowers, which I felt like it wasn't fully realistic to do that kind of thing. But at this point I kind of backed up and I was like, well, we are in the spellcaster world. So I would imagine that, you know, our witches and wizards, they would have pretty lawns, right? Especially if they have this modern stylish house. Let's see, other things that I can think of. With the pond, I made sure that there was a little spot where the Sims could wade because it's just so cute watching them play in the water. And then I had a little seating spot and the fountain. I believe the fountain is from Realm of Magic and you can toss a coin in it. I don't know if that actually does anything. I also wonder if that works with the new luck mechanic that we got with Enchanted by Nature, but anywho, I added the little fish pond decoration that we got with the base game. It's still like one of my favorite little fountain decorations, and I use it on the ponds all the time. Now, I mentioned earlier that I did make it like a fishing allowed type pond. There's just no fish in it, but like in my head, I really wanted there to be like a chair, like a stool or something for you to just go sit out and cast a line. But it just, the more I kept looking at it, I was like, it looked awkward just having a chair there. And like my idea was that your Sim would actually be able to use it, and that's not true. Sims would not actually be able to use it and fish there. So then I was like, oh, well, I guess I could use the tool mod and maybe like prop it on the side of the sign to kind of look like it lives out there. But I ended up just feeling like I just canned it. I was like, this isn't really necessary. Like I'm really bunching up these clusters of greenery, so I want to like offset it with some negative space, like just some open lawn, if you will. All right, so I finished wrapping up the landscaping. We are almost done and we have the tour coming up. I just did some little last minute adjustments to kind of, you know, just put the cherry on top, so to speak. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys. I hope you have a beautiful week. Love you. Bye.